Deals with Heels, where female entrepreneurs thrive. I'm Debra, your host. Welcome to the show. I'm super excited about this week's guest. We are going to dive in deep and talk about some behavioral science and really growing business fast by finding the right customers. I'm really excited about it. So let's get in it so we can get into the good stuff. Shira Abel is a world-renowned growth expert with 25 years experience. She's trusted by category-leading enterprises from Siemens, Samsung, AXA, Alliance, and many more that she helps understand their customers and achieve new heights in business. As the creator of the Perception Formula, Shira brings a unique blend of insights to her work. She's a lecturer at the University of California, Berkeley, and in-demand speaker. Shira delivers actionable advice for teams at all levels, from executives to subject matter experts. Please welcome Shira to Deals with Heels.
So much for having me on.
I am so excited to have you on the show. We had a little mini show before we started recording and got to know each other
I
really
feel like
well.
I've known you forever.
Sometimes, you guys, when we're recording, you can imagine there's a certain amount of chaos, and it was like on her end as well. She was having a little bit of lateness, and I was running late from the episode I recorded before. So it was just a really good little
bit of extra good timing.
It
for both of us.
was. It was. We both
Conveniently misaligned at the exact same time in the absolute perfect way.
100% and found out we're very like-minded. And I like that a lot. It helped us kind of get to know each other. So hopefully we won't say something and it'll be an inside joke from just 15 minutes ago. But it could happen because we really connected, I think. I had this episode titled, sometimes I change it before it comes out, but Behavioral Science Hacks, Tiny Tweaks for Massive Business Gains. And I want to dumb it down for a minute and have you tell us, what is behavioral science in general? I think people don't really understand what that is, especially if they're just a regular business person like me.
Okay. Most people actually know behavioral science intuitively. It comes from the world of psychology and behavioral economics. Okay. So what does that mean? Behavioral science is the study of behavior, right? So we have heuristics. Heuristics are mental shortcuts, and it could be anything that's a mental shortcut. Okay, my son's favorite when he was a child, when he was really little, my youngest had ketchup with everything. I wouldn't buy anything but organic, so I bought him Heinz organic ketchup. Okay, that was my mental shortcut. I had the first brand effect. I went to the grocery store. I went straight to Heinz organic. I bought Heinz organic. That's a mental shortcut. I know that, what I think of certain friends of my oldest son. I know that if he's going to be hanging out with certain friends, I'm going to be asking a one set of questions as mental shortcuts. And if he's hanging out with other friends, I'm asking a different set of questions due to those mental shortcuts. In our heads, we have two systems of thinking. This comes from Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, which is a very boring book. You do not have to read it. But it's a great book, but it is not meant to be a page turner, okay? Let me just say that. So if you listen to it or read it, there's two systems of thinking. Fast thinking, which is where all the heuristics are. There are mental shortcuts. And then slow thinking, which is where you really deeply ponder all the things and the details and all the little bits of something, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going over a contract, you're using system 2. If you're going to go buy a house and you're figuring out everything that you want in the house that you're going to go buy, you're using system 2. If you're buying a car and you're doing every detail, it's the detail work, right? Mm-hmm. But there isn't enough time in the day to get to that level of detail in absolutely everything. So that's why we have system 1 and system 2. Behavioral science takes the heuristics and merges it with the hormones, which are the neurotransmitters, which are the chemicals. It basically gives us our emotions, right? If we're stressed, we have cortisol. If we're filled with love and trust, it's oxytocin. If you've just bought an Apple product and you're opening up the box and that feeling of pride that you get and how good it feels to open, that's serotonin. So, what different neurochemicals are being triggered by different things? So, all of that, these are 2 bits of behavioral science. It's bigger than that, but that's the gist of it.
Okay.
So that's behavioral science. And it goes along very tightly with psychology because a lot of the heuristics are psychologically driven. And any emotion that goes with everything, of course, is also psychologically driven. So they kind of go hand in hand.
But boy, no. So I do I do sales coaching, sales mindset coaching, and we do behavioral buying patterns. And, if I know how you like to be communicated with, your personality type, then I know how to communicate to you to better sell to you. So it
Yep,
kind of goes hand in hand with that a little bit.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's actually a lot of the framework that I've built.
Awesome. Mine goes back to, of course, doing 1,000 of those different personality tests. And I worked at a company when I was in running corporate marketing departments, and they used a method and it stuck with me and evolved, I guess, over time, because this was 2000. So
Yeah.
it's been 25 years since I was introduced to that version. There's a million different versions of it everywhere, but that's the one that was in my mind most of the time as I developed part of my psychological coaching for sales and marketing, because your messaging has to have that in it also. And who are you communicating to? Who are they? What do they do? And we designed marketing materials back in the day. Of course, we didn't have as social media that we do now, but all around, it didn't matter which of the buying personalities you had, there was something there for everyone.
Yes, exactly. So you have to think about all the different components when you're putting something together.
Okay.
And
I
that
think that,
actually,
go ahead, please.
should I talk about the perception formula then?
Yeah, let's get
Because that's
into what the
so closely
perception.
tied to what you just talked about, but has a few nuances. So the perception formula is perception is equal to the function of heuristics, which I've just explained are mental shortcuts, hormones, and there are basically 6 hormones that I think about specifically because as a practitioner, not a scientist, okay? I'm only thinking about the things that I end up wanting to trigger when I'm doing sales or marketing, right? So the chemicals like cortisol, norepinephrine, endorphin, serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine.
Dopamine.
Okay. So those are the 6 main ones that you end up thinking about when you're doing anything in sales and marketing and you understand that world. And then you've got history, the history of your brand with this person. Have they seen ads? Have you met them at a trade show? Is there a history? If there's no history, if there's no hormones and there's no heuristics, they're not thinking of you. There's no perception. You don't exist. Period. I mean, think about it. If there's
Yeah.
no mental shortcut for you, they're not thinking of you. If there's no emotion attached to you, you haven't left enough of an impression, they're not thinking of you. And of course, if there's no history, how can they think of you?
Right. The
Right?
ultimate cold call.
Right. Exactly. So then, on top of all of this, what takes that 3-legged stool and turns it into a comfy chair is heritage. What tribe do you belong to? And that could be, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Boston or LA? Because they are not the same place, nor do they think the same way. My husband's an engineer. I'm a marketer. We don't think the same way.
Mm-mm. No.
You don't market the same way to a developer that you would to a marketer. So, there are our own personal tribes. There are the way that we grew up. There's where we've traveled around the world. Are we a collective culture? Are we an individualistic culture? You're going to do things very differently for Japan than you would for the US.
Right.
So all of these things need to come into play. And this is how you flip the lens and you figure out how you're being perceived. Because every decision is based on perception.
Right.
So if you want to influence the decisions, you have to influence the perception.
1,000%. That is true. I mean, how they perceive your brand and your company, how they perceive you personally, and not in a way that you should take it personally, but in a way of how you can communicate with them to better sell to them.
You don't own your brand. You don't own your perception. And if you don't own either of those, which you don't, right? All of this is on the side of the other person. It is up to you to influence it. And if you made the wrong impression and they have the wrong perception, how are you going to fix it?
Right. So let's talk about some tips on how to do that. Or maybe we could talk about some traps people get in for their perception. Like there's got to be, like, I feel like sometimes I'll take the easy way and it might leave the wrong impression that I can complete a lot of work quickly. And it's that whole perception of you're not paying for the time, you're paying for my experience and my wisdom and my learning but that perception comes across differently.
So it needs to get reframed.
Right.
And I would reframe it as, not only are you getting fantastic work, but you're getting fantastic work fast because of the amount of experience I have, which gets you to market sooner and makes you profit faster.
Right. Now you're talking those pain points, working those back in too, where people, because that is, when I talk to people about their messaging, lots of times they're working with a content creator that's really just looking for vanity numbers and eyeballs and impressions and clicks. And what we really want are the leads and the sales that
Drive
come with
revenue.
that. Yes. And if it doesn't do that, then
Why are
it's
you
not worth
doing it?
doing. Right. And for me, there's a lot of thinking and time I spend thinking, and we so don't value critical thought in this country. We want workers, not thinkers. The whole Rockefeller thing. I think sometimes people when they don't see the thought, or the thought has been happening for decades over something, or for years, and you've put it together, they just see that, well, it didn't take you very long to place that ad. Why is it? And it's hard to see that, but you put it in with the pain points. Now what you get in return is what matters. How does it help you? And that brings in the real value.
It's funny. I went to, this reminds me of years ago, I broke the glass on my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it into the place and they said, it's going to cost this much. And I said, fine. And they said, but it's also going to take a few hours. And I said, is there any way you could do it faster than that? And he's like, well, actually, I could do it in 2 minutes, but everybody gets upset with it taking 2 minutes, paying this price. And I said, I would rather have my time. I am perfectly happy to pay you that price. Do it in 2 minutes. Give me my phone. Let me get out of here. This is a waste of my time. My time has value. People forget that their time has value. They forget that if you're fast, that's better for them.
Yes.
And if you're fast and good, that's phenomenal because that gets them to market faster. They make money sooner. That gets them feedback. They can tweak things. It's not just the speed, it's speed and good. But even if it isn't speed and good, just the speed alone will give you the information you need in order to tweak, in order to fix, and then get it forward again. Imagine if somebody is slow and not good.
And you don't know until
And
it's
you
done.
don't know. So then you get the stuff back, you put it up, it doesn't get you anything. Then you have to tweak it again, and they're slow.
Mm-hmm.
How much longer it's going to take for you to get to profitability?
Do you think that it's a function, because your phone guy is completely correct. People get upset because they trade hours for dollars. It's the same thing. It's that 40-hour work week.
As an entrepreneur, I know how much my time is worth. And I think in terms of this.
Of your
If I'm
own
an
time,
hourly
not their
worker,
time. Yes.
yeah. If I'm an hourly worker, I might think differently, but I'm not. So I want you to make everything as fast as possible for me. If you could get it done yesterday, that's even better.
Right. I might pay extra if you can get it done
Exactly.
faster.
Exactly.
It's so awesome that he admitted that.
Yes, it was a very funny conversation. He was like, well, and I'm like, get it done. He's like, you're not upset? No,
The
this is
honesty.
actually.
He had some pretty good perception about you that you would be or he wouldn't have said it. He
No,
wouldn't have
I got
told you.
lucky.
Yeah, I love that. And it makes me think about I was consulting with a business and I couldn't get them to focus really on marketing and what we needed to talk about because he was focused on getting everybody back in the office. It was post COVID and he wanted everybody back in the office. And so I was asking questions. Well, is it really essential that they're back in the office? I mean, I'm marketing. I've run lots of big marketing departments, and it is essential to have collaboration amongst your marketing department. And most people in marketing, not all of them, but a good portion of them are creative people, and it's difficult to pay attention when you're creative and you have a lot going on. So it is important to have a meeting together. It's not important that we be together all the time. We would never get anything done if we put all these creatives together. We'll get some stuff done that doesn't have anything to do with what we're supposed to be doing. But I said, so I'm empathizing, I'm understanding from his perspective, and he just keeps getting more frustrated. And finally, exasperatedly says, how do we know that they're working? To which I replied, well, is the work getting done? Are you paying for the work or are you paying for the time? Right? Because we're conditioned to want to pay for the time. That's what we're conditioned.
Unless they're in the office and then you pay for the work, because you could be putzing around all day doing you could be
But
shopping half your
I
day
mean, but in
if you're
his
in an
mind,
office.
yes, but in his mind, if you're not there where he can walk down the hall and see you working, you're not working. And for me, I have a love-hate relationship with that. I am somebody that completes work quickly. And so in that 40-hour work week world of corporate world or wherever it was, if I got, especially at an entry level, if I got all of my things done, I would be up looking for other things to do. There was no internet back then for me to play around on and waste time. And I would go find something. So I ended up doing things more work than I should have, and things that weren't really part of what I needed to be doing. So for me, I wanted to pay for the outcome, not the output. I had a guest on a couple of weeks ago that talked about output versus outcome. And that was really meaningful for me because I am a very outcome driven. I can get that done. But because I was so conditioned in corporate world, I feel anxiety if it's not the output. If I'm not, like, I could be doing more. I got all of this done today. You're tired. Just do it tomorrow. I'm the damn boss. I should be able to do what I want. But I get so conditioned in that if there's any time left in the day, that time should be spent working on something. And I've worked really hard to rid myself of that conditioning, and it still gets me. Not as much, but it still will get me.
When you're the boss, when you're the owner, one of your jobs is to also take care of yourself.
It is. It is. And it's taken me a long time to realize I still can't tell when I'm in my reserve tank always, but recognizing when I'm in it is important because I'm about to crash and I don't know it. And no one around me knows it. You can't tell if I'm in my reserve tank, and I may be deep in it, but I'm still going and I'm still functioning and good, putting
And
out
then the
good
crash
work.
happens and everything just goes.
Oh, yeah. And so recognizing that has been a big part of my self-care. Christina, my former co-host, helped me a lot with that and understanding how important it is to take care of myself, and in recognizing the ways in which I was not.
Mm.
I mean, I was meditating every day and really taking care of myself in multiple ways. But I wasn't taking care of myself when it came time for those kind of professional expectations that I was putting on myself and the conditioning that I had in there. It has made a big difference in my life and in how my ability to live joyfully no matter what I'm doing, which isn't always I'm not always happy, but I can look at even a troubling situation and still live joyfully through it. And not every time, but it's definitely a work in progress. But I wouldn't be able to even do that if I wasn't doing the self-care. And
Yeah.
I have to talk myself through it still to this day. If I don't feel good, listen, Debra, you don't feel good. It's okay for you to take care of yourself. That client's work will be there tomorrow and you'll be able to get it done without a problem then, where it might take you all day today because you don't feel good and it won't be as good. But I have to still have those conversations with myself. It's one of the few things left that I can't quite get over the hump on. So I always ask, any tips for that?
My internal dialogue focuses on progression because, like I said before we got on this call, I hadn't written in about a month, really, right? I had been trying to write. I'd been working on writing. I'd been writing things, but throwing it all out, it's been a mess. I haven't written really in a month. And this morning I finally wrote again, something I
Gosh,
like and I posted and I was happy with.
that Libra full moon Saturday just cleared all that out. And finally,
I don't know how that works with Gemini, but apparently it's helpful. So I finally wrote this morning, and then I wrote even after that and started my next one. So that was great. And I started getting all these ideas, but I had a month of like stillness, and I had to make progress in other ways to keep myself from basically just getting really down on myself. So I made other forms of progression since I felt blocked in this one space. As long as I'm progressing, I'm good. It's when I'm not progressing at all that I'm like, hold on, what's going on? And then I'm like, that puts me into a state of concern.
mm-hmm.
But
I
for me,
like
it's
that
about
better than
progression.
saying, I like that concern better than saying anxious.
Yeah.
Everybody's got anxiety, anxious about this, that. I like that is a point of concern for me. So I can be concerned and it not overwhelm me. Like you don't get overwhelmed with concern. You get, right? You get overwhelmed with things like worry and anxiety and stress. But if I'm just concerned, it's still significant emotion, but it's not an overwhelmed way to think about it. I like that a lot.
Also, anxiety is like it's a clinical term, right? You could be diagnosed with anxiety. So I'm not going to put myself into that space. That's an internal dialogue that takes things way further than I want them to go. So,
That's a
I
label we don't need.
it's a label we don't need. We can be concerned. We can take baby steps. We can maybe have a temporary mental block, but we are always making progress.
So the way my mental dialogue in that situation, because it definitely happened to me after Christina had to step away as co-host with me, I had decisions to make and I called it stuck in mud. I was moving forward, but it was like I was in knee deep mud and it was slow moving because I had things that had to happen for me to make the right decision. So for me, I think sometimes if it's God or the universe or whatever it is, spirit, whatever it is for you, that they are bringing us blessings, but we're not quite ready. We have to wait. We have to wait for
I
just a
find
little bit.
when you're stuck in mud, as you put it, I
Stuck
find a
in mud.
lot of those situations are my head thinking.
Yes.
My
Thinking is
head needs to
important.
get through this before I'm going to be able to move forward. I am still thinking about this. I don't have the solutions that I'm happy with. When I get the solutions that I'm happy with, I will move forward quickly. But right now, the back of my head, my subconscious is taking all of this information and figuring out what it's going to make of it. And until it's there, I don't feel like I could speed forward. Like when I first created the perception formula, heritage wasn't in there. And I had a real block. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm writing about it and I'm doing things on it. And I'm like, I get it. And I understand why it's important, but it's clunky. Something's not right. And then I went to this lecture at Stanford, and because I'm in the Bay Area. So I schlepped over and went to Stanford, went to this talk, and poof, in the middle of the talk, I was like, heritage. I'm missing heritage.
Yes.
And
So you just had to take some action.
Yeah, you just have
The
to keep
action.
going and
Yep.
doing other things. And while you're doing other things, it'll percolate. And while it's percolating, and then when it's done, and you've got it. And I was like, all right. And now I'm solid with it. And I've got all the frameworks for it. And I've got the explanation for it. I've written God knows how much on it. And now I'm talking about it everywhere.
But it
But I
had to come
needed,
that one piece.
yeah,
So there was a woman, she was a guest this season, Dominique Clifton, and she has this, it's the confusion loop of trial and error that entrepreneurs get in, this stuck kind of thing. And sometimes you're not really stuck. You don't have everything in there yet. But one of the things, so she meditates the same as me, and she called it getting creative downloads. I got a download while I was meditating. And this last weekend, I had this massive download, this creative. I was literally, after I finished meditating, on my knees with my whiteboard, just writing furiously in my office this weekend, just all of it just coming out of me. And my creativity works a lot like that. Anyway, if I get in flow state, it's kind of like vomiting. It just starts coming, and it's unstoppable. I can't stop it. I can't stop and neatly write it down and put it in a little idea box or anything like that. I oftentimes will text somebody an audio text, especially if it's about their business. I might have some kind of creative vomiting happen about somebody's business that's not even a client that I just talked to. And so I will, and the audience knows this because I've talked about it before. In fact, one time we were talking about it, and I was in the other studio and we had a producer, and Taylor started laughing. And Christina was like, and I said, it's because he got one of those late night texts from me about his business last night. Like 11 o'clock, I had this creative download about his business. But I like that. You aren't quite ready to download it. You haven't. But once it comes and it downloads, it puts all of the pieces together. And that is what it did for me
yeah,
this weekend, to where I'm like, I hadn't been moving forward in outcome, but I had been thinking, and I didn't realize how valuable all of that thought I
thinking
was
time
putting
really
into
is.
it, because all the pieces had to come
Yeah,
together mentally and spiritually and everything for me to really understand it.
yeah. And having a deadline helps too, a lot of the time.
I definitely have to use a challenge mindset. I was an athlete. And so as soon as I had all the things happen that gave me the confidence to bring my podcast in house and do it myself, once all of that happened, and my thought was like, okay, Debra, I think you can do this yourself. Once that clicked, then I had to set a deadline, because otherwise time just gets away from
Oh
us.
yeah, so easily.
So I was right this day. Yeah, I researched the days and found the most astrologically lucky day of not just the month of January, but it was also the first quarter. And that's the day I'm doing it. And then I backed up from that day. I have to record blah, 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 blah to get this day. So I need this set up, and did my timeline. So I really love a deadline too. I don't like to put a deadline on before I know. I mean, it happens to us, right? We get deadlines put on us by bosses and clients, and we work within those deadlines. But personally, I have to get through it and find my confidence and my voice if I don't have that yet before I can put that deadline on it. But I definitely had to do that with the show and find out how am I going to make it work. It was terrifying and overwhelming to not have Christina with me. But once I got all the little pieces that gave me the foundation to have under me, then I guess my perception was right, and I was able to see it and
Yeah.
have the deadline in there. It made a big difference.
Perception isn't, I mean, while I talk a lot about perception on how others see you, it's also how you see yourself.
Oh yeah, how you see yourself influences a lot of how other people see you, because you represent that. And if you are always down on yourself all the time, there's no way to hide that from everybody.
No, and everybody will feel your internal Eeyore coming out all the time.
Oh yeah. Yep, you're right. I will say, sometimes I'll be like, I just feel so womp womp. I mean, you said Eeyore. That is kind of an Eeyore
Well,
sound.
I know that when I am good headspace and good everything, I attract all the good to me and everybody wants to be around me and I win every deal and I don't even try. Stuff just comes out of the woodwork and comes to
Yes.
me. And when my head's not there, woo, I am turning everything off. Nothing. Like I can't, there is some type of negative radiation field coming from me that cannot be like cannot
Yes.
be surmounted. I don't know. That's the wrong
We
word. But you get
attract,
my point.
yes, we attract what we think and how we feel. It attracts
Or we
like.
repel.
Like attracts like. That's why you see people that constantly have problems because they focus on problems, not solutions. So what do they
Yep.
have? They have a lot of problems. And I think that's part of it. And when we're maintaining that. So give us some tips how we can grow our business and have our perception right.
All right. One of the things when you get into a negative space, get out of wherever it is that you are. Go outside. Go take a walk. Go take a hike. Do something outside in nature. Get out of your space.
Yes, that's a big deal for me.
That
I
is a huge deal.
change your environment. Like when you're, because I have a grandbaby, she's almost 2, so she's not really a baby, but when they're crying, you walk
Distract them.
outside, it's like flipping a switch sometimes. It'll
Distract
come.
them.
Yes.
It's exactly it. Your internal dialogue is a toddler. And you need to treat the toddler as a toddler. And
Yes.
when it's sitting there having a blow up in your head, you need to take it outside. And then if it hasn't eaten, you have to feed it.
Yes.
And if it hasn't had enough sleep, you need to sleep.
I can get hangry for sure.
Yeah.
I will realize I'll be like, why am I so irritable and I'm so tired? And then I'll be like, oh, it's 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten anything all day. I need fuel. I
Yep.
literally need fuel.
Yep. I know that if I haven't had a good night's sleep for like 3 days, I shouldn't talk to anybody that day. I should just avoid the world or go take a nap because
Yeah.
I will not, I will be generally useless. Nothing in my brain is going to fix it. Just synapses all over the place, but nothing firing in the right direction. And I'm a mess. When I've gotten sleep and I've slept well, like generally I sleep well, fortunately. When I sleep well, and magnesium, by the way, has helped with that, but that's a
Yeah.
whole other side story. So if I'm sleeping well, I'm on fire. I am doing everything goes fast, everything is easy, everything is seamless. It's a lot easier. So you have to take care of yourself.
Because you're generating all of those hormones that she talked about at the beginning, right? All of the things that we think about and that we do generate the hormones that make us feel anxious, give us the physical symptoms of whatever that emotion is.
Yes. And if you find yourself distracted all the time because you're getting interruptions from your phone because you're addicted to the dopamine, take your phone, put it somewhere else, get it out of your space. My phone is nowhere here. If it were here, I'd be fiddling with it. I can't have it around me. It's not in my office. It's in a whole other room. Don't have
I
it here. And I turn off all notifications on the computer and I don't have notifications on my phone. The only notifications I have are messages from, because family and WhatsApp, and that's it. And I only allow family and close friend notifications. Nothing else comes through. Phone calls, forget it. You're going straight to voicemail. I don't care who you are.
And so she has a system in place, guys. She goes and checks her messages regularly so that she knows she's not missing on anything. And that's what you have to do. I will, because of my ADHD, I have learned that I will, and because I can work quickly if I'm focused, I will set a timer. So I'll set, usually it's like an hour and 15 minutes. See, that's cuter. I just do it on my phone and my phone automatically goes on to do not disturb. My computer's always on do not disturb. And now I'm going to work through until that goes off. And where I make a mistake is on the self-care side. When it goes off, I don't always stop.
So I like the state of flow. And what I just showed you was an hourglass that is 20 minutes.
Okay.
And so what it does is if I can't get into the state of flow, by the time that's done, I let it go. But
Okay.
usually by the time that's done, I'm in the state of flow and I'm working. And then because it's quiet,
Mm-hmm.
I don't notice that I'm continuing, and I get to work in a state of flow uninterrupted, because if there's an alarm at the end of it, that interrupts me from my state of flow, which I don't want. And so when
Right.
I'm writing and I'm really in my writing, this allows me to get into my writing easier, right? This is a brain hack, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
that helps you get into the state of flow, because you know you only have a limited time. And if you're still not in it after 20 minutes, you're allowed to be done.
And move on to a different project or
But
that
if
doesn't
you have
require
done,
that.
but if you're in it by that 20 minutes, then you're in it. You don't have to worry about getting out of it because it's quiet. And so you don't
Well,
notice that the 20 minutes have passed. So I have several tools that I use this way in order to help me remain focused, not get distracted, keep myself in a good state mentally, which is so critical for entrepreneurship, as we tend to not look. Any person who is high driving, okay, any person who is ambitious is essentially a malcontent. If you are totally content with your state of life, with everything that you have, and you don't feel like you need or want anything else, you have no need to push.
right.
So if you have a need to push, that automatically makes you a malcontent. So, you need to then take care of your head. And also be kind to your head and accept your malcontentness. Like if you see it as
Yes.
a bad thing,
It's
then you
okay. It's
will
not
lose your edge.
it's like for me, there's a part of me that I'll say she's not in charge. She's very effective and we need her and we bring her out when necessary. But we can't leave her in charge because we can't. But so I like that. I do like that. For me, it's the self-care thing. I will sit in that same spot for 4 hours, and that's not good for me.
No.
So I have to set the timer for the opposite reason too, so that it will now I can work through it. I can keep going because I had 5 kids and I can tune that out. But it's important on the other side of it for me that I don't be head down for 4 hours and never stand up or go pee or grab something to drink, and then I'm like,
When I'm writing, I'm generally very fiddly. So I'll get to a sentence, I'll be at the end of it and go, all right, I'm going to go put the load of laundry from the washing machine to the dryer. Laundry's always getting done when I'm writing. And then I'll get up and I'll go grab a drink or something else, right? But it's in my
you're
head. That's
still
part
in
of
the
my process.
headspace. Yes.
Like when I'm deep in writing, the house is generally quite organized and clean because that's what I'm doing while I'm thinking while I'm writing.
Yeah, those routine exercises that you don't have to think about are great for memory and creativity. They really get those things going. Well, I hate to say this, but I'm
We're up
over
on time.
time. It's been such a great conversation, and I know that my audience has found it incredibly valuable, and it ties in so well with all of my messaging, which is always about one, taking care of yourself, but two, understanding who you are and understanding who your customer is so that you can better communicate. So if you can recognize those signs that she's talking about in your client, now you know where they are in their headspace too, so that you'll know she's not in any kind of a headspace to talk to me about what I want to talk to her about. So I'm not going to worry about pitching her right now. I'm going to let this go. And then I'm going to come back and pitch her again. But I'm going to have a world of information that I got from her while she was in that headspace that will help me know her better. So always the purpose and putting that back around into your messaging and using that as a way to reconnect at another time and have another opportunity to potentially sell to them. It's not futile to sit and have the appointment when you realize you're not going to be able to pitch them or close them today. That's okay.
Most of the time, the first meeting is really just to get the second meeting. Learn as much about them so in the second meeting you can
Yes.
explain all the things you learned in the first meeting and why they're relevant for the second meeting. So
And
it
on
makes sense.
that, yes. And so now all of you know why you need a second meeting with Shira so that she can help you figure out all of your offers and make them really attractive to your potential clients. It is a really big deal, and it will launch your success to a greater level. So I hope that you will check out all of her stuff. Please tell you talked about it earlier, but tell us how they can find your book, and I think they can download maybe a free chapter of it. Is that right?
So on Hunter and Bard, there's the account-based marketing handbook. So there's that on there. Otherwise, my book on the perception formula, not out yet. That's going to be a while. But they can
Working
see
on
the
it
blog
though.
post. They could go to shiraabel.com, SHIRAABEL.com, go to the blog, and it is all there. And they could also sign up for the newsletter and connect with me on LinkedIn.
And I will link to all of those things in the show notes. You will also be able to find all of the normal links to all of my stuff, especially my free ebook that you can download, which is 5 Steps to Having a Successful Mindset. And so please check out all of that. Check out Shira's stuff. Such a great time. I really enjoyed having you as a guest. I wish we had more time, but I've already overdone.
And you're going to be late for your next appointment.
I am. So until next time, everyone, we're out.
Thank you.
Thank you.